ourselves to order. Can you take the roll, please?
Sure. Ms. Glover? Mr. Green?
Present.
Mr. Hugo?
Present.
Ms. Hughes?
Present.
Ms. Thomas? Mr. Tillage? Mr. Walker?
Okay, thank you. So, seeing as we don't have a presenter and we don't have a quorum, are there any questions that we have for the city manager or anyone else present?
Why, yes. So the last time we were here, Mr. Manager,
Yes.
I think you said you got it to get a plan pulled together.
Yes.
Can you update us on where we stand on getting the plan to get a plan?
Absolutely. Part of that facilities connection strategy
Yeah.
is part of that plan that we've been pulling together to make sure that it's not a complete plan, but it is a start. It gives a list of the buildings or facilities that is, they've put it into 3 phases right now, and they've given a list of what those buildings are and what phase that those buildings will be connected. So that is the planning stage of what those phases are. First phase is scheduled to be done on March 31st, second phase July 31st. I think that is probably too aggressive. So that was one of the things that I've, my back and forth with the CIO on the plan that he's rolled out. Great to have a plan, but it's got to be realistic too. You know what I mean? Because the first thing, I don't want to give you a whole bunch of things, and then you start trying to hold accountable for the things that we say, and we can't do it. So I'm pushing back on, hey, we need to put a little thought into this, not just put a list of things together and come up with them. Because we got to have a plan.
Yeah, so my recollection is that the first phase that you said is supposed to be done by the springtime.
The 31st, yes. That's the date that I was given.
Was contingent on us getting grant funding that I think was reported at the last meeting that we didn't get. And so I asked then, so if we didn't get grant funding, is there money in the budget to do what we're talking about doing to complete phase 1? I think your answer was no. So if there's no money in the budget and there's no grant money, then how do we get phase 1 done by the springtime when we're inside of the budget year?
Well, one of the things I'm talking about is reallocating what phase 1 is. Phase 1 is some existing buildings for the city. So, no, I don't have money that I can spend to connect to other buildings, but I can reallocate money that I can connect the city buildings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what we're looking at doing, kind of modifying what phase 1 actually is, because it's more, maybe I won't say this in a public meeting, maybe, but it's more important to me that we get our city facilities off of lease lines and onto the networks that we are. That's the most important part of this phase to me. You know what I mean? Yeah, we want to do some other things with some other people and get some other places connected. But the thing that's going to do the biggest bang for me is getting those buildings that we own connected.
Yeah, so again, this whole conversation's been stretched out over many meetings, but my recollection when we were briefed several months ago about phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 of this plan, that it was all pointed to connecting city buildings. There wasn't any part of the plan that was intended to connect to or make our pipe available to non-city entities. So it sounds like you think that phase 1, 2, and 3 does have non-city entities as part of the plan?
Well, I'm looking at the bills that have listed here for phase 1, 2, and 3. some of it I would think is quasi-city. All right. What I need is that facility on Frederick. I need my fire stations.
Yep.
You know, there's certain facilities that I think that should be at the top of the list.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some of the outlying recreation centers, some of like Norfolk Navy Shipyard Security, Portsmouth Magistrate. Those are important. I'm not saying they're not important. They're not as a priority as I think some of the other places should be. I'll say it that way.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, the whole rationale for spending the money that we spent to invest in the local network was because it was going to save us money to get off of other people's infrastructure and onto our own infrastructure, just as a intranet, the city talking to the city. Mm-hmm. And so I agree with you. I mean, the other things are interesting, but the thing is going to save us money to pay back the return that we made on the investment and give you some room to spend that money on other things in the budget is getting the city infrastructure, talking to the city infrastructure across our own network.
I think one of the other things that we need to look at also is, I think there's a philosophy that the network has to be completely done before we start connecting anything to it. All right, that's a misnomer.
Yeah.
I just need a connection between here and the next place before, you know, and I can connect that even though the whole ring isn't done. You know? So there's a change of philosophy as I look at how we're rolling this out that needs to happen also.
Yeah. Does the plan currently include Portsmouth Public Schools? Because presumably the schools need the same intra-connection as the city does, and there needs to be some intra-connection between PPS and the city to do some of the business that we do.
That looks like phase 5 of this plan that I have in front of me. That's when the schools start coming on.
So maybe we should talk to the schools to find out whether phase 5 works for them. I don't recall in our liaison meetings that we've had any discussions with the schools about them having any priority to get onto the broadband network.
Not since I've been around anyway. I know
Yeah.
that discussion haven't happened.
I know there were discussions with the schools earlier on, and they were not very interested at that time. I think they get a very good deal on their internet.
Okay.
So the savings aren't as big as they are for us.
Okay.
That's not to say they wouldn't be interested and we shouldn't re-engage, but that's probably why they're
Okay.
listed so low.
So they have some type of an educational rate that they're paying through?
I think so.
Okay.
This was years ago that I remember.
Okay.
I mean, that would make sense. A lot of, not just network providers, but equipment providers give very different rates to
Sure.
educational users. So it could be multi-part. It could be that through whatever broadband service they're
Yeah,
getting, they might also be getting equipment for the students, and we're not going to be able to help with that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think
Sometimes
it's
states will kind of negotiate that for schools. I'm not sure if that happened here in Virginia, but sometimes states will take the lead on that. Even, you know, some of the equipment or technology. I know when I worked with the San Diego County Office of Education, even Microsoft, we had, you know, special licenses that
Right.
we had that everybody else couldn't get just because of the size of the organization and it was an educational institution also. So there are things that that manufacturers and service providers will make available for education that you just can't get everywhere else.
Yeah.
And I don't know that. I don't know how it's done here in Virginia. I haven't looked at that yet. So.
It's certainly worth a conversation, but yeah, we don't want to make them lose something that's important to them if it doesn't work.
Especially since we're the funding source for. So if they're gonna pay more for it, I just gotta ask us for more money. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, so if we spend money on them and ultimately it saves us money, then that's a good thing.
Right.
If they're already got such a good deal that the savings is not gonna cover the investment for years and years, then having them at the tail end of what we're doing.
The second piece of that is
Didn't do much good for us.
what we have is dark fiber, which means they're going to have to put equipment on each end of it.
Right.
They're going to have somebody. They're going to need somebody to understand how to program that equipment and keep it functional. Right. So if that is part of their package, that's something that they're going to have to split from the package and to be able to take advantage of what we have.
Right.
We don't have the services that go with it. We just have the dark fiber.
Right,
You know.
right.
Any other questions? So is the next meeting still scheduled for March 10th?
As of today.
As of today.
As of today.
Mr. Carter, would it be possible to get a copy of the plan prior to the next meeting?
I can give you a copy of the plan as it is. That will not be the
You
final.
can draft all.
Okay, all right, cool. Just want to make sure that, you're right, this is a work in progress. This is not a, yes, okay. Yes.
Thank you. There's nothing else. We stand adjourned.
Thank you.